the Fantasy Football Fanalist Podcast, presented by Fantasy Data. Here's your hosts, Billy Muzio and Bradley Stalder.
Welcome back, everybody. Tonight, we have a special guest joining us tonight. We have Brett Johnson at Linesmaker Brett joining us from PrizePicks. And we're going to be doing a giveaway on tonight's show, courtesy of our guest. And so Brett is the vice president of PrizePicks. He's also the head of line making. And he's been limited by five different sports betting sites.
Yep, that's true.
Limited by 5 separate sports betting sites. He's the man behind the curtain, the man with a plan, and the one that we all curse or thank every time we play. Welcome to the show, and I'm excited to be diving into these future picks with you here, Brett.
Thanks for having me, guys. Way overdue.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah.
Absolutely. We've been playing PrizePicks. We did it weekly, throughout the NFL season, and every week we were frantically getting the lines on the account on our Twitter account so we could get those lines in and talk about them each week, and just grateful to be able to partner with PrizePicks this past NFL season. Look forward to continue doing it.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful partnership. We're very grateful, PrizePicks, and we are looking to build upon that here for 2021.
Yeah, definitely.
So first things we have on the agenda tonight. So I want to know, how does one become a line maker?
Okay, so all right, so for our entire team, I was just looking at it before we started, and I think like 9 of the 11 of us are former players, actually. But me specifically, I started about 2.5 years ago, and I had played on the site for a couple weeks, and I wanted to get into the business, so I reached out to support, and I just said, hey, I think you guys could use some help on NBA. Here are some of the things that I think could be done better from a lines making perspective. And I was like, here's 5 guys on the board right now that I think you guys have an incorrect number, and here's why they are. And I sent that email, and within like 4 days, I had already interviewed with 3 guys, and then our CEO, and he offered me a job. So
that's awesome. So what does the process entail for you, like on a weekly basis, if you're able to share?
Yeah. So, I mean, we have like 11 guys, and they're all assigned different sports. For NFL specifically, because you guys are mostly NFL guys, our process is we have there's 3 of us, and we just get on a call, and we each kind of come up with numbers for each of the guys. And we'll just run through, and we'll be like, all right, what do you have for McCaffrey? Okay, I've got 22.5, and I've got 24. And so we'll just kind of banter back and forth on, what we think the right number is. So, and it's just good that we have a team of really smart people to bounce ideas off from. And so sometimes we'll disagree on a number, then we'll kind of put it to a group poll. And sometimes we'll make little side bets on it just for fun.
Well, thanks for teeing that one up, because Bradley and I have a side bet here, and we want you tonight to be the judge and the jury, and we want you to settle this debate from a lines making perspective. And the question that we have here, Mike Davis. Yep. Is Mike Davis end up somewhere between running back 1 through 20 or running back 20 plus? And we're going to have a debate here. And then we're going to let you throw in your 2 cents here. So Bradley, go for it.
So Billy, I was going to say you go for it because you were in favor of Mike Davis. I would feel too bad just starting off with so many negative things about Mike Davis. But look, I'll begin with the positives about Mike Davis and then tear it down from there. Mike Davis is a solid NFL running back. He's got pass catching capabilities. These are things that Billy's going to say. And he's, in fact, in a pretty good situation. There's not really a lot of competition right now in Atlanta with Quadri Allison there. and a couple undrafted free agents, Javian Hawkins, Caleb Huntley among them. I'm not excited about the prospects of who's on the roster right now, so I understand the hype. However, I think that they're going to add someone. And Mike Davis, we saw what he did for about 4 weeks last year, and he put up 20-something fantasy points for about 4 weeks. But other than that, you were really disappointed if you were banking on him. He had most of his weeks below 12 fantasy points, even with the majority of carries and touches in the backfield for Carolina, in a backfield that we saw produce the number one running back in Christian McCaffrey the year before. We saw him really sputter out, get injured. I don't think he can handle a workload. So I'm taking the 20 plus, given his age. He's 28, his lack of workload capability. I think that the Atlanta Falcons add someone this offseason, whether it be an Adrian Peterson or anyone else. So there's a lot that I'm not a fan of in a long-term bet for the season of Mike Davis. Is he a hot commodity right now? Absolutely. And that's why you should sell high. I don't think he's a top 20 running back for 2021.
All right, let's see.
That was my timer. That was my timer, not the wrong buzzer.
No, that's the wrong button right there. I'm gonna talk about. Oh, that's the wrong button here. I'm gonna talk about why I do like Mike Davis, because Mike Davis finished 2020 as running back 12 in PPR formats with 642 rushing yards on 165 carries. His yard per carry average was only 3.9, but that's because he faced the third most stacked boxes in the NFL with an average of 7.1 defenders on 37.8% of his carries. The defenders will not be able to do that in Atlanta with Ridley, Julio, and Pitts on the field. In fact, Davis only faced a light box 25.5% of the time, which was along the same lines as Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Mostert, and Nick Chubb. Defenders played against the run, and that's why we saw a lack in his yards per carry. Still, Mike Davis still finished as running back 12. Why? Because he's utilized in the passing game. Mike Davis had the fifth most targets for all running backs last year with 70, catching 59 of those for 373 yards and 2 scores, and was only credited with one drop. One drop, Bradley. I think you're underestimating Mike Davis. He was third in the NFL in juke rate at 32.1%, only 0.1% behind Alvin Kamara. He was 8th in the NFL in evaded tackles with 72. He was 13th in the league amongst running backs in points per attempt with 1.25, and he one spot behind your beloved Aaron Jones. Oh, man. I just want to say Mike Davis is hashtag good at football, and it's time for people to realize it. All right, Brett, you've heard our testimonies.
All right. I have a question for you before I answer. Are you concerned at all about the difference in scheme between Carolina and Atlanta as far as dumping off to the running backs?
No, because Matt Ryan has also checked down Matty Ice, because we saw what he did with Devontae Freeman, and what Devontae Freeman succeeded in this backfield. I think Mike Davis is going to do what everybody was hoping Gurley would do with 2 knees last year.
I'm going to go back to that and use our recency bias. I'm going to use what you just put in there, Billy, that yes, Todd Gurley, he didn't look good, but neither did any of the other running backs. You've got a possible pass catcher in Javian Hawkins, who might be stealing some pass catching work. He's not going to be a rough tumble. I think he's 5'10", 180. So his role is going to be more pass catching, if anything. I am concerned about the scheme, because you're going to be going deep or going over the middle with Pitts and with Gage and Ridley and going deep with Julio if he's on the team. So I think there is a significant scheme difference, at least over the past 2 years. And we've seen Arthur Smith now move to Atlanta, where he utilized a lot of running between the tackles and 2 tight end sets. So I think that there's a limited ceiling in the target share. I don't think he's that good of a runner long term, and I don't think his body can hold up.
Did you see the photos, though?
Look, we do need to talk about Mike Davis.
He's got the legs of a winner, Bradley, and I think that's exactly what we're going to see here.
Did we see the legs of AJ Dillon last year? Did we fall into the leg fallacy?
Those were like children legs compared to Mike Davis legs.
Yeah.
So let's hear Brett's size. Lines maker Brett is the final determinant here. He's the end all say all.
All right. So when he was with Carolina, I always thought of him as more of like a plotting type running back. And then I saw the photos and first of all, super impressed. Then I was just like, wait, is he a lot younger than I think he is? And then I looked up and I was like, no, he's really 28. All right. I was right. But I think that if you would set the line at like 15, I would definitely take the over on that. But I think I'm falling in the 15 to 20-ish range. But
victory!
The thing that does scare me though is Carolina, it's all about dumping off, and they just basically plugged him into CMC's role. And is that going to change this year? I don't know, but I don't know where is he going in like FFPC or ranks and stuff. Is he like a fourth or
sixth round?
Fifth round. I saw him go as early as 5.01 the other day.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
Like, he's an okay RB2. He did help me make the playoffs last year in FFPC. I spent 60% of my fab on him, and it worked out because I had no running backs.
So, Bradley, it looks like you've been defeated in this debate. So Twitter agrees exactly with what Brett said. So out of, 75 votes, 42.5 roughly % of people said running back 16 through 20. And 29 on yours and 38% on mine. So roughly 34%. Is that right? You're the mathematician here. But mid 30s said running back 20 or higher. So Brett has spoken.
I think this is the absolute ceiling for Mike Davis, though. Like, I don't see any path to him being higher than running back 15, which is why if I'm making bets, I would take below 20.
So you know what he's saying, Brett? He's saying that you need to throw the future on the lines, and he's going to bet on it. That's what he's saying.
There you go.
He'll definitely be up before the start of the season, so that's for sure. And I think he's also saying that if he's in a season-long draft, he's going to be taking someone else in that range that has more upside.
Yes.
Because
I'd probably be targeting running backs a lot earlier and let someone else have to deal with the Mike Davis headache.
Yeah, and I do agree, though. He has almost virtually no chance at top 10. Like, he's going to have to stumble into like 12 touchdowns to get there, something like that.
Okay, well, I think that's enough Mike Davis. Now let's pull up these lines here. I'm going to pull up the PrizePicks website. Let me just get our names off the screen here. And let's get this share screen up. Okay. Bradley, why don't you run us through it?
Sure. So is that the first one, Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, we're going to run through. They moved the order, of course. Did they?
Of course.
No, never mind. Hold up.
You guys scroll up a little bit. There we go.
I was they moved it.
Mahomes. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so Patrick Mahomes is the first on the board, 4,900 passing yards for the season.
Oh, hold up. Wow, that goes away when I minimize it. That's fantastic.
Okay, so 4,900 passing yards for the season, Patrick Mahomes. And we're talking about the over or under. That's the beauty of PrizePicks. It's very simple. You're able to just choose the over or under. And right here, Bill, you want me to start off?
Yeah, just run us through it, and then we'll do rapid fire.
Okay, so 4,900 for Patrick Mahomes. I'd take the over. I project for the over, and pretty significantly. I have almost 400 yards more for 17 games for Patrick Mahomes. What do you think, Billy?
I like the over also here.
So you
How
guys,
about you, Brett?
I'm leaning to the under on that for two reasons. One, I don't think that with KC you can project him to play 17 games. I think that I'm curious to see how the 17-game season plays out if people end up sitting 2 games at the end versus just the normal one. He's also been really healthy in his career. So I don't know I just feel like there is some downside there. Obviously he's the best quarterback in the league, but if they wrap it up early or if he happens to get banged up, I could see him going under.
All right. Next up, Tom Brady at 4,500 passing yards. And I have Tom Brady projected for over that as well. I do think that there's going to be a little bit of regression when it comes to the arm, but I still think that with all the pass catchers, 4,500, I think I'll take the over.
I also have the over here again. The band's back together. Everybody's returning with the extra game. I think it's definitely within reach.
Okay. I'm going to be the naysayer again.
Please.
I'm a Pats fan, and I feel like at some point it's going to catch up to him. Like, he can't just be out there at 48 years old throwing up 4,500 yards. So that's kind of why I lean under on him.
You don't believe that Tom Brady's going to be playing in the NFL with his kids?
I mean, it's possible. I hope so. I mean, I root for Brady. I love Brady. There's a lot of Patriots fans who are, upset with him. I was rooting for him in the Super Bowl, and any game that they weren't playing the Patriots, I'm rooting for him. So
awesome. We'll stick in the Patriots division. Josh Allen, 4,500 passing yards. I have Josh Allen projected over that by 37 yards, so I'm going to lean the over, but I would take the tie almost. 45 is a really, really good line.
Yeah, it is a good line. I'm actually taking the under here. And you've heard me talk about why on previous shows. And for those listeners just joining us, I'm just going to repeat that statement here is I think that it took 2 MVP caliber years from Josh Allen and from Diggs to reach the numbers that they did reach. And I just have a little hesitation going into 2021 that number is going to be repeated.
All right. So this one I'm actually over on. And I think Buffalo is going to regress a little bit. And I think Josh Allen is going to regress, which sounds counterintuitive at first. But I think he's going to end up, I think his TD to interception ratio is going to go kind of more Jameis Winston territory. And he's going to throw more picks and just be in some garbage time situations where he's going to have to play comeback. And so he just may have some more opportunities to throw.
Real quick, while we have some people on, all you have to do right now is comment on which of these lines you like, you don't like, and why. We'll post your comments here on the show, and we're going to randomly select 2 people throughout the show for free entries into PrizePicks. So feel free, chime in, throw your comments in whatever platform you're on. If you're on Twitch, if you're on Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, whatever you're on, and we'll pop them up here as we're talking about players, and we're going to give away some entries here. So it will be random. I have a random number in my head for one of the commentators, and that'll be our winner here. So plug away. All right, who's next, Bradley?
Next up is Lamar Jackson, and the line is 3,200 passing yards. Let me pull up my Baltimore Ravens, and I am taking the under by 5 yards. This is season long, and so this just tells you maybe how – I don't know if this is good for PrizePicks or good for me, but the last 2 have been really close.
Yeah, I'm pretty close on a lot of these as well. I have the under here on his passing yards, and we'll get to touchdowns later, but this is a run-first offense, and I know they just added another weapon in the receiving game, but I still have some doubts about this Baltimore passing game.
All right, I'm going to actually take the over on Lamar. I think he's going to progress more as a passer and just be asked to do a whole lot more in the offense this year. And I do know they invested in wide receivers in the draft, so I'm going to lean over on this. Awesome.
We'll go to my Green Bay Packers now. Bill, if you want to scroll up a little bit to Aaron Rodgers, and Rodgers' line here is 4,400 passing yards. I'm taking the under. I have him projected for at about 4,100, and so pretty significantly under. And there's also a lot of questions about if he's going to be playing with the Packers, or maybe this is a slight hedge of him playing with Denver. I haven't projected him with Denver yet, obviously, because he's not there.
I have the under just simply because I don't know if he's going to play the full season. Is he going to hold out to get traded? What is that going to look like? So if he plays the whole season, I think this line is an over, but it is very well possible that this may be, 3 missed games, 2 missed games, 1 missed game. I don't know what it's going to be. So with all those uncertainties, I'm taking the under.
Yep. I'm going to take the under as well. I just think that Rodgers has always been a super efficient passer. He's never been a huge yardage guy. So I think 44 just sounds a little bit high.
Next up, Kyla Murray for the Arizona Cardinals. And Kyla Murray's line is at 4,000 passing yards. This is a smash over for me. I have him projected for 4,800. So I love this one. He's one of my favorite overs for passing yards.
I have another under here. I just think that he does opt to run as well. And I just think the number 2 in this offense is a little shaky on the receiving side. I know they had another weapon, but I just think that it's a pretty good line, and he hasn't hit it yet.
All right, so let me just add this disclaimer. Any of the opinions that I'm saying here, this is not representative of PrizePicks. This is just me. I have not looked at any of the members' action or anything like that on this, and we've probably taken like 1% of what we will take so far this year. So, I honestly have not looked, but I would assume that by the end of by the start of the season, Kyla Murray will probably be the most popular over. I know I've seen some buzz on Twitter about people suggesting the over on Murray. So, I actually side with him as well. I think that, he's going to continue to progress as a passer, but I think it'll end up probably being one of our most lopsided positions. So.
All right. The addition of AJ Green, Rondell Moore to the offense, old and young with Christian Kirk still there. Larry Fitzgerald was just hogging targets. So, okay. Next up, Dak Prescott, a more and also exciting passer. The line is 4,650. I'm taking the over. I think it's a little bit more. We saw how pass heavy the Cowboys were last year with Dak, and their defense is going to improve, but it's not going to be a top 10 defense for this year.
I like the over again. He was on track for extrapolated 6,000-yard season last year. Just that offense was electric, and everybody's back. The offensive line is coming back healthy. I think that this offense is going to be one of the most elite offenses in football as long as people stay healthy, and I will smash the over here on Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I did that same math you did, 6,300 on a prorated basis if it was 17 games. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to side with the over. Do we know how healthy he is right now?
They're saying on track.
All right. So, yeah, I think that's going to be another really popular over. He was basically playing at MVP caliber before he got hurt last year. So,
and again, real quick, guys, we have a few people listening and watching live. So all you have to do is comment on if you like an over or an under, and we're literally going to be giving away a free entry here. No one's commented yet. There's been quite a bit of people watching, but you literally all you have to say is I like the over, I like the under, and why, and you have a chance to win a free entry at PrizePicks to win $100. So if you don't like free money, fine, you can keep your comment, but we're giving away free money here.
All right, next up,
it's going to go to Billy and Bradley if you guys don't comment.
Yeah.
I'm not against that, but we want to give it away, okay?
Yeah.
So next up, we have Justin Herbert with 4,400 passing yards. I love Justin Herbert this year. They beefed up the O-line. He had the best rookie campaign that we've seen from any rookie quarterback in NFL history. He smashed almost every single line with the exception of a 2012 Andrew Luck passing yard line. And I'm going to take the over here. I actually have Justin Herbert projected for nearly 5,000 yards this year.
nearly 5,000 yards. I have him over 5,000 yards. I'll talk more about Justin Herbert later, but I'll just say that's an over for me.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Herbert as well. I was just looking at where some of the industry is ranking him in season long. They've got him around like QB 8. If that's the case, he's a guy I'm going to be targeting for sure. Yeah, I like the over as well.
He was my March way too early quarterback 1 overall for redraft.
That's a bold statement. I like it though. Hot take.
We'll see if it pans out.
Yeah, I can get with you on the top 5, but one might be a little bit much.
Now you're on your own boat.
Yeah,
I was excited, but we'll see how he pans out. I'm almost done with take 2 post rookie draft projections. So there we go. Jalen Hurts over under is, Billy, you guys scroll up a little bit, 3,800, I believe. And that's for the Philadelphia Eagles, newly minted quarterback. I'm going to take the over on that, but slightly. It's only like 180 yards over that. So I could see within the range of outcomes. It's not one that I'm confident on.
I'm taking the under here just because I'm not confident, and I just don't know exactly what this offense is going to look like right now. We have our assumptions, but there's just a lot of moving pieces. We have Ertz possibly still being traded. We have, a new rookie wide receiver now as the number 2. A lot of moving pieces in the receiving core. So I'm going to take the under here, and I'm pretty confident about it.
All right. Yeah, this one I definitely was not confident either way. I mean, he had a really small sample, only like 4 games last year. On a prorated basis, it's 4,500, but I mean, really small sample, a lot of question marks in the receiving core, but slightly into the over.
Awesome. Next up, Ryan Tannehill loses his offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith. And we're looking here at a line of 3,900 passing yards. And I'm going to take the under. I projected him for about 3,800. So we need booms from A.J. Brown to make that happen. But I'm not super excited about Dez Fitzpatrick filling in as the number 3 here.
Yeah, I'm under as well. I love me some A.J. Brown, and Derrick Henry's a beast, but they just lost my beloved Corey Davis. They lost Jonnu Smith, and I just feel like there's not going to be a whole lot of options that Ryan Tannehill is going to be able to throw to. Now, this changes if trade rumors swirling around of Julio possibly landing. If that happens, I'm going to take the over. But for right now, it's under.
Yeah. So where does that put A.J. Brown among wide receivers? Is he borderline top 5? I mean,
yes. I think I have him as my rough projections without pulling him up, probably 3 to 5.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be looking at 110, 120 targets.
I have him for 121 right now.
Yeah.
25% target share.
Yeah.
It's
so
going to be the season.
Yeah. Super bullish on A.J. Brown, but yeah, I'm with you guys on the under as well on Tannehill losing two of his top pass catchers. It's kind of a run-first offense anyhow before, so I think they're going to lean more on Henry.
Okay, Joe Burrow up next, 4,100 passing yards. We did get, as the line, good news that Joe Burrow is on track to start week 1, so those who are betting can keep that in mind. But I have him projected for 4,300, so I'd take the over with the addition of Jamar Chase and the loss of AJ Green. You know, the sometimes you win by subtraction, or you gain by subtraction. I think that's what they did by letting AJ Green go. So I think there's a lot of good things. The passing volume will be there for Joe Burrow as well. We saw that with Cincy. So there we go.
We're getting the Tua here, but you're the first comment. So let's just jump down to it. And right after we get done with this one. So I'm taking the under for Joe Burrow. And I just think the leg injury, I know the offensive line is just trash. And I know that they got Chase, and Chase is a beast, but I just think that they're going to have a rough time with this offensive line.
Yeah, I think, second year with very little experience last year. He only played about half the season coming off a leg injury. I think there's a lot more ways for him to fail than to get there. So I lean the under as well.
All right, Bradley, jump to Tua, and then let's come back so we can get for this listener.
All right, so Miami, quarterback Tua where is that? Is that on here?
18.
Can you scroll down?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You got to scroll down here. There we go. So Tua's at 3,900 yards, and I have him projected for just over 4,000. So I'll take the over, but I think the addition of Jalen Waddle, Will Fuller, both being deep threats, I think that's going to increase the yards per reception. So I'll take the over, even though it's a lot closer than I'd like.
I'm going to take the over as well, simply because the additional weapons is. I like that sentiment, and I don't think it can be much worse than it was last year. I like what Miami's doing on both sides of the ball, and I think it's a good line.
All right, I'm taking the under because I think 2 is not good. He's just one of those guys I don't think's good. He may prove me wrong. I love the weapons they got. I just wish, if I were a Miami fan, I'd rather have Fitzpatrick.
Hey, we were saying that last year. So real quick, I'm going to show our listeners comment. He likes the Tua line. He's taking the over. He's looking for a Gesicki breakout. And he also mentioned that the O-line is much better. So what is that? At Palm Beach Getaways, you're our first winner for a free entry here at PrizePicks. We will contact you after the show. We'll get your email address so Brett can get you hooked up. So thanks for tuning in, and thanks for the live commentary.
Awesome. Yeah, we're always grateful for our listeners checking in, commenting, interacting. We love it.
All right, who's next? Do I need to scroll back up?
We got Matt Ryan up next. Matt Ryan, 4,300 passing yards. This is a smash over. I have him projected for over 5,000 passing yards for this season.
It's a smash over for me as well. I mean, this line seemed a little low for me, especially with the extra game and with the weapons they have, especially adding Pitts. I'm taking the over.
Yep, I'm definitely on the over as well. I just think Matty's pretty consistent year over year. He's always in that over 4,000 range. He likes to throw a lot. They're in the dome. Yeah, I just think there's a lot of things to like there.
Okay, next is rookie Trevor Lawrence, 4,100.5 passing yards. Awesome. So Trevor Lawrence, I have him projected for 4,300. And I know that sounds like a lot, but I think Jacksonville has a bad defense. They're going to be bailing themselves out. A lot of garbage time. ETN is going to be a reliable pass catcher. But they also added Marvin Jones, who's a really good wide receiver on the cheap as well, relative to Nelson Aguilar salary. DJ Chark is still there. Laviska Shenault is still there. They've got deep cuts of Colin Johnson, Jalen Strong. They don't have anything at tight end, but I think they've got a lot of weapons already surrounding Trevor Lawrence, who's going to be a good quarterback.
Prescott fans on.
I see. Hey there.
I'm taking the under here. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I just think that this line has only been hit twice in NFL history. Once by the previous mentioned Justin Herbert last year, and then prior to that was 2012, and that was Andrew Luck. So I just think even with the extra game, I think it's a tough number to hit, and a lot has to go right in order for that number to be met. So I'm taking the under.
All right, so I'll just caveat this by saying college football is definitely not my forte at all. So on the rookies, I just don't have that much information on them yet. My initial lean was to the under, just with, any rookie. It's just kind of, you got to show me before I'd I'd back the over. But what Bradley was saying about being behind so much and just a lot of throwing opportunities, I think as long as he stays healthy, he probably has a pretty good opportunity there. And they actually do have a relatively decent receiving core there. So I slightly into the over.
All right, I'll take the win, not the Mike Davis win, but thanks.
Well,
the win
going to be decided in January.
No, it's decided now. It's been determined.
Oh, okay. So if he ends up as running back 31, Bradley doesn't get any credit?
No, that's extra credit. We never agree.
I would have to buy Billy a beer, I guess.
The Billy and Bradley beer bet.
Oh my gosh. Next up, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson projected for 4,000 passing yards for the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm going to take the over. The addition of Dwayne Eskridge at least stretches the field a little bit more than David Moore would. We've still got Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Gerald Everett was added as well as a pass-catching capable tight end there. Chris Carson showed that he can still catch passes as well. And I think that Russ is still out to prove that he's can't count him out. So I think that even with a relatively low passing volume, he'll hit that number.
I take the over here as well. I love DK Metcalf. Tyler Lockett shows up on occasion. And I just think they're going to let him air it out because we saw that success in the beginning of last year and they kind of took that away. I think they're going to head back to the passing game.
Yeah, I mean, he hit 4,200 yards last year, and now you get the extra game, and he didn't really lose any meaningful weapons, so I lean over as well.
All right, Ben Roethlisberger with the Pittsburgh Steelers, 4,300 passing yards, and my projections initially had him at 4,400, but I'm going to take the under surprisingly here. A lot can go wrong for Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers here. I know that they're trying to bail themselves out, but I don't think his elbow's bad. He's not good anymore. I think that they're going to lean more on Najee Harris to run the ball better than James Conner did last season. They're going to prove that first round pick is worth something, and they're going to want to preserve him. So I don't think Ben is going to get to 630 pass attempts or whatever he was extrapolated for 16 games last season. So I'm going to take the under. His yards per attempt were just so low last season.
See, devil's advocate here. I'm going to take the over, and I think it's his last year. I think they're just going to let him sling the rock. I do. I think they're just let him throw it, and I think they're just going to let him just have his way and throw the ball, 35, 40 times a game like they were on track last year. And I don't think that's going to slow them down. They have, a great new running back, but at the same time, they have, 3 really good wide receivers that are also on the field. So I think a little bit more balance in this offense, but at the same time, I still think they're going to just sling it.
Yeah, so I'm taking the under simply because I take the under on 15 games for Big Ben. I think he's always gotten banged up, but now he's 39 years old. As someone close to that age, I realize, you don't bounce back quite as quickly. So, I could definitely see a scenario where he only plays like 7 or 8 games, gets knocked out due to injury and things like that. And if I were looking at season win totals, I'd be down on Pittsburgh as well, just for that reason, because they don't really have great backup quarterback situation either. Dwayne Haskins. Yeah.
Oh, Mason Rudolph isn't going to do it for you?
Yeah, no, not so much. So, yeah, he's got great weapons, and on a per game basis, he might do fine. I just think that he's not going to get the number of games to get there.
All right, next up, also a goodie but an oldie, Ryan Fitzpatrick for the Washington football team, projected 3,900 passing yards. I have him right now, 17 games, 3,929, but I see a lot of ways in which this one can go bad. So I'm going to take the under here. They've got Heineke, they've got Kyle Allen, they've got a few other developmental quarterbacks as well they may want to see. So if things go sideways at least at the beginning of the season for Washington, I could see them at least looking at Heineke or some other quarterback.
Yeah, that's exactly what my talking point is I don't think he plays the full slate of games here. And if he does start all 17, I'm not sure that he plays every minute of that game. He could easily be replaced by another quarterback, throws 2 picks. We've seen it happen before. He's very streaky, right? He goes 4 touchdowns and 0 picks, for 2 straight games. Then he'll go, 3 interceptions and 1 touchdown for 2 more straight games. So I'm going to take the under here just because of the many variables.
Yeah, I mean, he's another guy that I'd take the under on 14 games. So I'm definitely taking the under. He hasn't hit 3,900 yards since 2015. So, I mean, he's had quite a few years of like this, dual quarterback situation. There was him and was it Glennon, I believe, in Tampa Bay? They were switching back and forth. And then last year, the Tua situation, I mean, and he's 38, something like that. He's getting up there. I just think the unders is the play.
But the beard is so magical.
I love Fitzmagic. I mean, he's great on a game-to-game basis, but I was actually kind of hoping that the Patriots might get him on the cheap, but didn't happen. So,
all right, we'll move on to Daniel Jones here. Scroll up for me here, Billy. 3,800 passing yards, I believe, is the line, and I'm going to take the over. I think there's just been such an addition of weapons here. Kenny Golladay signed in the offseason. Kadarius Toney as well. Kyle Rudolph is a reliable backup tight end. Devontae Booker was a usable pass-catching running back. So, and the addition, or Saquon Barkley's back in the fold as well. So I think that a lot of things can go right for Daniel Jones this year. I have him projected for 4,200 passing yards, so it's pretty significantly above this. So I like a lot of things that the Giants have done surrounding Jones. And I know that last year was bad, but a lot of things just didn't go right at the beginning for the Giants. And if he plays all 16, that's going to be really good or at least 16 games. I think he'll hit this.
I like the over as well. He also gets, Saquon Barkley back, who plays a major part of this offense. People are going to have to, respect the run, and they're not going to be able to just play back and play safe and force him to throw the ball. As well, Barkley's also a threat in the passing game as well. So I like the over here with him getting weapons and in addition of Kenny Golladay.
Are we sure he's good, Daniel Jones? Because, I was going to go with my same response on Tua. I don't think Daniel Jones is good, so I'm taking the under. He was one of those guys that every week we're like, all right, we just don't want to get buried with unders on him. Like, what number would make you go over on Daniel Jones? And so we were commonly in the 11 to 12 range on him on a game-to-game basis. So, I just lean the under. I don't think he's great. So
I don't think he's great, but I think he's been surrounded with, Sterling Shepard's no schlep. Darius Slayton, is okay. Not great, but okay. Kenny Golladay, if he's healthy, he's phenomenal. And Kadarius Toney, I don't know, half of the teams in the first round wanted to draft Kadarius Toney. So I think there's a lot of ways in which he can succeed despite his not being good himself.
Yeah. You also forgot Evan Ingram.
How dare I forget Evan Ingram? I mean,
he was one of my targets in PPR last year, which didn't really work out great. He got a lot of targets. He just didn't get a whole lot of catches.
He also had a lot of drops.
Yeah.
Lots of drops.
Yeah. And not very many meaningful catches. A lot of 4 for 30s in there. So.
Yuck. Zach Wilson, another rookie, the passing yards line, 3,700. And I don't like rookies either. They're Brett, but I projected him for 4,000. And with 17 games, I'm assuming he's the number one quarterback. You're not going to have James Morgan, the quarterback, to step in anytime. So he's going to get all the passing. I don't think the Jets defense is improved that much. They did a lot to improve the offense with Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Chris Herndon. Hopefully, he showed out actually at the end of last year. I was looking at a few stats there. Michael Carter will be more useful, I think, than the likes of Josh Adams in the passing game. I think there's a ceiling for Zach Wilson, but I think over on 3,700, that's going to be pretty nice.
I have the over. It's not by much, but I think they gave him a lot of weapons. It's kind of the same argument that you had for Trevor Lawrence. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot. They're going to be playing from behind. I can see the same type of scenario here for Zach Wilson, and I really like the coaching changes they've made. So I think the arrow's pointing up, and I'm going to take the over, but it's pretty close for me.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have looked at their roster, but they've got like 27 wide receivers on that roster.
it's pretty crazy.
I was just like looking at it, I'm like, all right, who did these guys end up with? And I'm just like, wow, this wide receiver list keeps on going.
Almost as bad as the Texans, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there are a couple decent ones in there. So I can definitely lean towards the over just if the Jets continue to be bad and, they're in catch-up mode and Zach Wilson's semi-competent and he stays healthy. So I can definitely see a path to the over.
Billy just wants the over so that Corey Davis can be successful.
Yeah.
Because they go hand in hand. So that means Corey Davis is going to be a wide receiver 2 again this year.
What's our fascination with Corey Davis exactly?
It's just a truther from college and he failed and I refused to give up. And it's one of those things where you're just too stupid to quit somebody. Yep. And that was me. I just said, you know what, at this point, F it. I'm going to acquire him everywhere. So I have him in like 20 dynasty leagues. And when he finally hit, I rejoiced.
Yeah. Last year was a good year for him.
It was. It might be his only, but hey, we'll let the rest of it play out.
All right. Derek Carr here for the Las Vegas Raiders. The passing yards, 4,100 passing yards. I'm taking the over. I have him projected for 4,600 passing yards. And I think that Henry Ruggs develops a little bit more. I think John Brown as a deep threat also is very good. Darren Waller is still there. And I think the addition of Kenyon Drake also as an additional pass-catching option out of the backfield at least bumps him up a little bit. So there's a lot to like, I think, as Derek Carr is a sneaky, usable quarterback too here.
I'm going to take the under. I'm not fairly confident in all the wide receivers there. Waller is a beast, but I think they added Drake. I think they're going to run the ball a little bit more this year. I know there's camp news about them utilizing Drake in the passing game, but I just think that I'm not sold on Derek Carr. And I think 4,100 is a pretty steep line for this offense.
All right. I just looked. They have Deshaun Kaiser. Wow. It's been a while since I heard that name.
Notre Dame alum. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, he's in 4 or 5 seasons. Actually, I think it's 5 or 6 there. He's been in the high 3,900s at least. So I'm kind of leaning towards Bradley's opinion, like especially with all those competent pass catchers. He's pretty consistent. He's just, kind of like a poor man's Matt Ryan. Not a super high ceiling, but he's fairly consistent. So I think 4,100 is definitely in reach, especially if he plays all 17 games.
Which we think the Vegas Raiders are going to be playing 17 games. I don't think they're going to be clinching any playoffs early. So
no, I don't think so.
All right, next up, Baker Mayfield, 3,700 passing yards, and I love Baker Mayfield this year. This is just this is really great. If it wasn't for a few other picks, he would be one of my talking points at the end here. 3,700, I'm taking the over. I have him projected for 44, almost 4,500 passing yards. I think a lot goes right for Cleveland. I think they showed what they wanted to do at the end of the year. Especially given a new coach, COVID in the offseason, and then the monsoon games really affected their plans. So I think that this is a very sneaky smash over for me.
It is for me as well, and he's one of my most owned quarterbacks so far through the 25-plus drafts that I've done on FFPC. He's consistently going in like rounds like 15 through 18 right now, and I mean, I could see him being a dark horse for,
MVP.
Yeah, for literally, I was going to say MVP. And I think that this offense has done, good jobs. They have OBJ coming back. They have a great running game. They've done a great things on the defense side of the ball as well. I think that this Browns offense is finally the offense that everybody thought was going to be when Baker came from the Giants. And they had him projected as this top 5, top 7 offense. And I think that Baker's finally going to pull it off, and he's going to kind of become an elite quarterback.
So where do you have, when you're drafting him, are you planning on having him be the QB 1 or 2 on your team?
It depends on if I'm doing best ball or whatever I'm doing.
Okay.
If I'm doing FFPC on like FBG main events, I haven't done a main event yet, but FBG, he's been my quarterback 2, just for the upside, and I'll take somebody else in like round 11 or 12. Like I've been able to get lately, like Aaron Rodgers in round 10, 11 because of the dip with the uncertainty. Mm-hmm. So for me, that's a good gamble of being able to have Baker there as a steady number 2.
Yeah, that makes sense. Where do you have Baker? You have Baker in like the 12 to 15 range among QBs?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think he has upside for, top 10.
Yeah. Was it it was the year before that OBJ was went over to Cleveland, and I was all in on him, and I was like, yeah, he's gonna be the number 1 quarterback, and he played like 5 games, and it was, that was not fun. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that at 3,700, that's a pretty attainable number for him. So I lean over there. I don't know if I really see a ton of upside on him, but I think your strategy there makes a lot of sense. If you can grab someone like Rodgers and then have him as a steady backup. Yeah. I mean, I think he's in that 12 to 15 range.
He just doesn't have the rushing upside to be like the Konami code quarterback that can access that top 5 or top 7 ceiling.
And I think we saw kind of a little bit of his ceiling last year in that 5 touchdown game. It's what we all thought Baker could be coming out of college. And I think that this offense is starting to click on all cylinders, with the new Stefanski in there and everything that's happening. And I'm just really excited to see what they do this year. And I love Baker Mayfield as a late round pick right now.
All right, let's do 3 more of these quarterbacks, and then we'll talk about our favorites just briefly. Kirk Cousins, 4,100 passing yards. I'm going to take the over. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. If you believe in Irv Smith, go for it, but I believe also in Tyler Conklin.
I'm going to take the under here. I just don't really like the line, and I just have a lot of doubts.
I lean over on this. I just think Kirk's fairly consistent. He's got some solid weapons. So, yeah, I'm not super bullish on Kirk Cousins, but I think he's a solid QB.
All right, next up, Jared Goff. The line is 4,300. I have the passing yards projected for 4,600. I think there's just going to be a ton of garbage time, and as mediocre as Goff is, he's capable enough of handling garbage time. So I think I'll take the over here.
I'm going to go under. I just think as much garbage time as this team's going to have, I think they're going to be really, really bad. Perriman as your wide receiver 1, Quintez Cephas, you have Tyrell Williams, St. Brown rookie. I'm just not enamored by all these wide receiver options, and I think it's going to be
TJ Hawkinson.
I mean, I love TJ Hawkinson, but I don't think he's going to be able to get them there.
Yeah, I mean, before the garbage time, I think the kneecap biter coach there, I think, is going to want to do a lot of running. So he seems like the smash mouth type of coach. So I think that he's not going to get as many opportunities in the first half. And they're going to try and be a run-first offense, but that's probably not going to work. But still, I lean the under.
I projected the Lions to rush 50 more times than last season. Yeah. And, it's still not – it's not looking good for them.
Yeah, I mean, outside of Hawkinson, that receiving core is pretty ugly.
Yeah, for sure. Jameis Winston, 3,800 passing yards. You wonder who's going to win this job, whether it's going to be Winston or Billy's boy, Taysom Hill.
Get out of here.
Brett, I also hear you have a great affection for the Vulture himself. But I do project Jameis Winston to win this job. And if he wins the job, it's not only over, it's like one of the highest overs for me, just passing yards wise.
I'm going to pause for a second because you had to say Taysom Hill, and then I'm going to just reset for a second. So let us know if you like
a warning.
Let us know if you like the over-unders on these picks, guys. We're going to give away another entry here. So let us know if you like these last overs or unders on the screen. I'm going to take the under on Jameis Winston because I think Jameis Winston does win the job, but I think that the Saints are going to get cute and do the same, excuse my language, bullshit they did last year with Taysom Hill on packages. And they're going to throw him in. He's going to, vulture a touchdowns, vulture an opportunity, take away a drive here, a drive there, a series here, a series there. And I think it's going to limit the upside that we have from Winston. So I'm going to take the under just because of freaking Taysom Hill and Sean Payton wants to get cute.
Yeah, I'm taking the over. I'm hoping that Sean Payton gets smart and just gives him 17 games and keeps that guy off the field for the most part. I can't stand him. I mean, like, if you want to put him in as a tight end, I'm okay, but like, there's nothing more tilting than if you're in a DFS contest or if you happen to bet a Camaro TD prop or something like that, and you see him come out on the field, and it's the worst. So if he gets the work that he should get, I think 5,000 yards is totally attainable. So I'm definitely over on Jameis.
So for perspective or for insight, Taysom Hill I have projected for 3 passing touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns, and 3 receiving touchdowns. So,
oh boy,
Taysom Hill in order for me in terms of his position is tight end, running back, quarterback, and that's what he should be playing on the field in that order. I don't know why they have him as a quarterback. He needs to get away.
Yeah, he should not throw passes.
All right, the last 2, Carson Wentz, newly traded to the Indianapolis Colts this offseason, and the line is 3,500 passing yards. So I projected Wentz for 36.93, but I'm going to take the under. He has an game injury prediction of 9.3%. He's going to miss games this year. There's also incentives for the Colts to sit him if he doesn't perform or if the Colts are not doing what they're supposed to be doing in making a playoff run. So I think that there is very much within the range of outcomes. And for how I have him projected, I'm going to take the under here at 3,500 passing yards.
So we have a fan here saying they're going to take the under on Winston as well. Congratulations, Britt Morales. You won the second entry to PrizePicks. So unfortunately, Bradley and I do not get to have one, but we are happy that our listeners do. So congratulations. We'll get your email here after the show. I actually like the over here on Carson Wentz. I like the reunion here that he has with Frank Wright. I think that year he had, I can't think off the top of my head, but I think it was like 4,000, a little over 4,000 yards. And so I think he was front runner for MVP that year until he tore his ACL, if I recall right. So I think that marriage is going to go well. I think that Carson Wentz is going to have a career year here with the Colts with this offensive line. And I think that Carson Wentz is going to smash the over of 3,500. So you mentioned earlier, Bradley, that 3,800 could be the largest over on Winston. I think it could be the largest over here on Wentz if it plays out.
I'm surprised you didn't mention Michael Pittman there, Billy.
I love Michael Pittman, and I do. That's another debate and another day.
Yeah, Bradley, why do you think he's going to get hurt so much?
So I looked at our.
Are these like soft tissue injuries typically that he's had, or
no? But I think that with how much he thinks he can run, I don't think he has the pocket presence that he's had over the last. So before the ACL injury, he played with a lot more confidence, and over the last 2 years, I just haven't seen it from Wentz. His pocket presence and his ability to look down the field, notice defenders, he just hasn't looked the same since the injury, and I'm not convinced that he's the same player and he'll ever be the same player that he was before that injury.
Yeah. All right. That's reasonable. I was just curious. Yeah, I lean to the over solely because of Michael Pittman.
Yes, help us. No,
No, I am a fan of Pittman though. I think he's really good. And I lean.
I knew I liked Brett. I knew I
Yeah.
liked this guy.
Yep, I definitely had some of him last year. So
Oh man,
I'm
that's
sorry
great.
for your loss.
yeah.
All right, here's
Oh,
the last
man.
quarterback.
Last one we'll talk about for the night, Sam Darnold, 3,700 passing yards. And, you know, I don't like Darnold. I'll preface my take with this. I don't like Darnold. I don't think he's good at hashtag good at football. I think he's in same comp as like Daniel Jones. I don't think he's that good. And, but 4,400 passing yards I have him projected for. If Teddy Bridgewater can sustain DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson and Curtis Samuel
And Mike Davis.
Right? Then he can. I think Sam Darnold can definitely sustain DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson and Terrace Marshall and a Christian McCaffrey to get all of these passing yards. So I think that'll be there. And I still don't think Carolina's defense is that great too. So they'll be continuing to play tough against all these teams. So I think Darnold will get that. And yeah, so I think I'll take the over here.
I think there's a more important question to ask here. Did Teddy Bridgewater sustain all of them, or did Mike Davis prop all them up?
Stop. All right, you just lost the debate for that comment. Oh my god.
Okay, all jokes aside, I actually like the Sam Darnold move here to Carolina. I think it was a great revamp for his career. I think it was always a horrible landing spot for Sam Darnold. People forget coming out of college that Darnold was actually a more recruited prospect out of college than Josh Allen was. And then he got the Adam Gase treatment, and he was Gased and confused. And we've seen what happened with Ryan Tannehill after he left the Gase system.
Ryan Tannehill was still like okay under Gase. Darnold was seeing ghosts.
Yeah, Darnold's actually also really young. I think he's 22, 23. So I still think that I still think he has an opportunity in NFL. And I think now he's, reunited with Robbie Anderson, who he had a connection with. He has Christian McCaffrey he can dump off to. He also has DJ Moore for the short to intermediate routes. So I think it's a great fit for Sam Darnold. And I think that 3,700 yards is going to be an over here for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had to get out of the Jets just to have any sort of chance. I mean, Adam Gase is the worst. Just no other way to say it. Like, he's terrible. Everything that I've seen from Sam Darnold, though, makes me if I had to put my money on it, I'd be taking the under. He does have decent weapons. And I think we're going to know fairly quickly within the first 4 to 6 games, like, is Sam Darnold going to be out of the NFL in 2 years, or is he going to potentially be a top 15 quarterback? It's going to be one or the other. I don't know if there's any in between.
Well, they picked up the 5th-year option for Darnold, so he's going to be there for 2 years.
So before we end here, we initially only thought we had the quarterbacks, but PrizePicks added a couple positional players here at the last minute. So I really want to throw these on, just do a real rapid fire, no reasoning, let the listeners kind of create their own scenarios in their head. I'm going to just shout out a running back, and I want you guys to say over, under, and then we'll move the next person. So Christian McCaffrey, 1,000 rushing yards. Bradley?
Under.
Brett?
Under.
I'm going to go over. Saquon Barkley, 1,250 rushing yards. Over or under?
I'm going to take the under.
Brett?
Over.
I'm going to go over as well. Dalvin Cook, 1,300 rushing yards. Over, under?
Over.
Over.
Brett? Over here as well. Alvin Kamara, 850 rushing yards. Over, under?
Over.
Over.
I'm going to go under. Derrick Henry, over, under 1,500 rushing yards.
Over.
Over.
Hot take, under. And we have Ezekiel Elliott, 1,150 rushing yards. Over, under.
Under.
Yeah, under.
I'm going to go over. Austin Eckler, 910 rushing yards, over, under.
Way under.
Under, because he's going to do it in the receiving game.
Fair enough, and under as well. Nick Chubb, 1,230 rushing yards. Got to throw the 30 in there.
I'm going to take the over.
I'm not a Chubb guy, so under.
Oh, how are you not a Chubb guy? I love Chubb.
Get out of here. You're my least favorite person now, Brett. How dare you hate on Chubb?
I'm going to take...
That's all right.
I'm going to take the... I love Chubb, but I'm going to take the under here. And then we're going to do the same thing for wide receivers, receiving yards. Davonte Adams, 1,325 receiving yards, over, under.
Way under.
Over.
I'm going to go under. I don't think Aaron Rodgers returns. Tyreek Hill, 1,375 receiving yards.
I'm going to take the under.
Yeah, under.
Under here as well. Stephon Diggs, 1,400 receiving yards.
Ooh, that's a good one. I have 14-12. I'm going to take the over.
I'll take the over as well.
I'm going to go under. See the sound of that back there? That was the ball dropping from this offense. It's not going to be the same. DeAndre Hopkins, 1,350 receiving yards.
Over.
Over.
I'm going to go under. AJ Brown, 1,350 receiving yards.
I have 1,354. God. All right, we're going over. Let's do it.
Brett?
Yeah, I was expecting us all to be over, but then I saw the number. I lean slightly under, but yeah, I think he's going to have a great year.
I'm going to go over because he had over 1,000 in like 12 games last year. DK Metcalf, 1,250, over, under.
Under.
Over.
Over as well. Michael Thomas, our final player today, receiving yards, 1,200, over, under.
Under.
Over.
I'm going to go over as well. All right. And the last segment we have today, for time's sakes here, what are your 3 favorite lines on tonight's show? Bradley, want to kick it off?
Sure. Are we doing each person at a time or rotating one each?
Let's do each person at a time.
Okay. I'll start with Justin Herbert. He's my favorite on taking the over of 4,400 passing yards. He set all kinds of rookie passing records. I'm not concerned about the new coaching system. They added a reliable rookie in Josh Palmer and Jared Cook as in free agency. He's also a downfield threat. I think taking the over, especially with the new offensive line, that's great. The under 910 rushing yards for Austin Eckler, I projected him for 665. Look, he's going to get 230 plus touches, but he's never been a legit volume rushing threat. I still expect Jackson and Kelly to take about 200 total carries, as well as Herbert rushing 50 or 60 times around the goal line. So I'm going to take the under here on 910 for Austin Eckler. And then the under on my boy Davonte Adams for 1,325 receiving yards. Look, Adams always misses games. He missed 2.5 last season, usually due to the soft tissue issues, which crop up a lot more often than other injuries. The Packers brought in Amari Rodgers to take off the slot load, and Adams played over 100 slot snaps last season. So with the dark cloud over Aaron Rodgers, I'm not optimistic with the outlook of the Packers offense if Rodgers leaves, which is at least within the range of outcomes. I don't think Jordan Love can sustain Davonte Adams for that number. So more like 1,100 would have been, Davonte Adams. So those are my 3.
I like all 3 of them, and I agree with all 3 of them. I think Austin Eckler is 100% in the passing game versus the rushing game, and I agree with the sentiments on Herbert and Davonte Adams. For me, Trevor Lawrence is my first one. The 4,100.5 passing yards. I took the under. And I know there's an extra game. I know, and this number has only been hit twice in history. Justin Herbert, like I said earlier, is 4,300, and Andrew Luck in 2012 with 4,400. So I just don't have a lot of confidence that this offense will hit that number. The second line I like is Justin Herbert's 29.5 passing touchdowns. I'm taking the over here. He had 31 as a rookie, and they beefed up the O-line, and they will get a full arsenal of weapons back. So I really like this line here. And Sam Darnold, 19.5 passing touchdowns. I take the over here as well. I think Darnold's in a better situation, a better offense like we just spoke about, with a better coach. And I like his supporting cast. And this 19.5 passing line number only equates to 1.14 touchdowns per week. And I think that's completely doable even for Sam Darnold. Bonus one real quick, Matt Ryan, 25.5 touchdowns. And in his career, he's had more than 25 touchdowns in all but 4 of his career years since 2008. And he has Julio for now, Ridley, Pitts, and of course my beloved Mike Davis. So that's a over for me. Brett?
All right, so I've got 3 here. So first, Aaron Rodgers over 33.5 touchdowns. I know that there's a lot of speculation about him leaving and all that sort of stuff. I think that it's more blown up in the media, and I don't think he's going to be able to force his way out of Green Bay. And I don't think he's going to miss games. And if he doesn't miss games, that line should be quite a bit higher. There's definitely a lot of pessimism built into that. I mean, he threw for 48 touchdowns last year. And if he's staying in Green Bay with Davonte Adams, and I mean, if you look at his history of touchdowns, he's typically in that 35 plus range. So I think there's some value on the over there. As I touched on earlier, Fitzmagic under, I just don't see him playing that many games. My other one was going to be Jameis over, but then I just remembered that Sean Payton does stupid stuff sometimes. So
this is true.
Yeah, I mean, like if it was any other coach, I'd be like, absolutely, this is a lock over. He's going to play 16 plus games and he's going to throw 4,500 yards. But Sean Payton, I mean, he just loves Taysom. I mean, I think Taysom has some photos of him somewhere or something, I mean, he's got to have blackmail on him.
I could see Taysom Hill or Sean Payton at least saying, you know what, Jameis Winston's going to start on odd downs and Taysom Hill is going to start on even downs. And that's just how they roll because that's the way Sean Payton does things.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see it being like a, running back type situation where like Jameis is between the 20s and then Taysom Hill gets all the red zone, which is just stupid, but I could see doing that. And then the other one, Camaro rushing touchdowns. We moved it up to 8.5, but I still like the over. I know he had like 6 touchdowns in that one game, but he had 16 last year. And I think he's going to get all the, a lot of the rushing opportunities. And yeah, I think they're going to lean on Camaro more this year.
Well, I'm glad I got my bet in before you raised the line. I got it at 7.5. So I'm pretty happy about that now.
Yep. Yeah. I think that one will be a pretty popular over pick as well. Just seeing the 16 that he had last year. So.
Well, Brett, thanks for joining us tonight. I had a blast. We appreciate our partnership with PrizePicks. We had a great year 1. We're looking forward to building upon that here in 2021. Do you want to throw out any plugs? Tell the people where to find you?
I mean, I think a lot of people know where to find me on Twitter already. But yeah, it was a pleasure to be here. Definitely look forward to maybe hopping in sometime this NFL season with you guys and talking about specific lines on a specific week and, maybe give you guys some rationale on why we put certain numbers where we did and what our thinking is. Let's
do it. We'll schedule it after the show sometime. Yeah, I'd love to have you back on.
Yeah, and I'll definitely pick your guys' brains when I'm doing my season-long drafts because so Billy and I were DMing all fall about FFPC stuff, and he helped me out a lot. So,
well, I'm glad you helped me out too because I think a lot of our rationale we were doing in the FFPC for the playoff challenge, and we didn't do so well in round 1, but round 2 I actually took I think it was top 20. So it ended up working out, made my money back because the round 1 was pretty ugly. I think I was pretty much SOL after the rounds 1. So it definitely changed the scenario that I had played out in my head.
Absolutely.
Well, everybody, make sure to tune in next week, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be joined by guest Bob Lung, and we will be discussing the Fantasy Football Expo and Bob's consistency rankings for 2021. So thanks again, Brett. Thanks, PrizePicks, and thanks for all of our listeners. For all of those who won tonight for participating, we'll get in contact with you through DMs, and we'll get your emails, and we'll get that sent over to Brett. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.